Part 2. Verdant Wind. Harpstring Moon. The Golden Scheme. Claude leverages his victory at the Battle of Gronder to secure reinforcements from Alliance lords. Meanwhile, the Imperial Army continues to tighten its defenses at Fort Mercius in anticipation of an attack on the Imperial capital.
Our objective is Enbar, the Imperial capital, but our greatest obstacle lies before that.
And what's that?
Fort Mercius. If we can't pass through, we won't be able to reach Enbar.
Fort Mercius, the impregnable fortress, or so it's called.
If I recall correctly, it's sometimes referred to as the Stubborn Old General.
It is a massive fortress that was constructed to protect the Imperial capital.
The Imperial troops we defeated passed through Fort Mercius and retreated to Enbar. Right now, Fort Mercius should only have its usual defensive forces to contend with.
Yes, it would be good to finish up here before more enemy reinforcements arrive. The only real question is what our fearless leader intends to do.
Sorry for the delay, everyone. Those mewling lords kept me from leaving for quite some time.
So, were you able to secure additional reinforcements?
It's gonna have to wait until next month. It doesn't look like they can afford to keep supporting us at present.
Then what should we do about Fort Mercius? Do you plan on waiting around?
No, if we wait until next month, the enemy will have bolstered their defenses. That said, the prevailing theory is that you need triple your enemy's forces to take a fortress with a frontal assault.
Right. That's what we were taught at the Academy. And this is Fort Mercius we're talking about. It's renowned for its strong defenses.
Our current army isn't nearly strong enough. What to do?
Whatever you do, just don't ask us to scale those huge walls. We'd end up dead when they hurl rocks down at us.
Yeah, no thanks. If only someone would open up the gates for us from the inside.
Unfortunately, we don't have any spies in there. Wait a minute. I've got it. We sneak in, stir up confusion, and open the gates ourselves to let our allies in.
Right, that's what I was saying all along.
Right, nice one, Hilda. But how do you propose we go about sneaking in?
Disguises? If we dress up like Imperial soldiers, maybe they'll think we're allies and let us in.
Do you really think they'd just open the gates for us? I'd be pretty dumbfounded if that worked.
No, she's onto something. It's a good idea, Hilda. We just need to refine it a bit, and we'll be in there before we know it.
Really? Go me!
What is your definition of refining the idea? I know your go-to strategy is nausea-inducing poison, but...
I maybe ate too much. My stomach hurts.
Raphael, why are you eating meat during a war council?
So, fearless leader, I'm guessing you're going to keep the crucial parts of your scheme under wraps until the time comes, aren't you?
You know me so well, Judith. Whether we like it or not, this war puts a damper on all of our spirits. What's wrong with trying to have a little fun every now and again? Just leave the details to me.
doesn't matter how sturdy the keep. If the commander defending it is incompetent, it can fall as easy as anything. That's what they say, at least. I wonder if that applies to Fort Mercius. All I know is, if I was the Emperor, I'd never in a million years assign an incompetent commander to a fort as important as that one.
Oh.
Pardon me, I've come to deliver vegetables we harvested in the village to the monastery's dining hall. Because of the season, I couldn't really pick that much, but I wanted to help you guys out, even just a little bit. We're busily planting seeds, so when things start to grow, I'll be back.
Hey!
Hi there!
Right.
The fish in this pond get fed every day, so they're swimming all lazy and serene. But the only reason they're kept here is so that they can one day be used for food. But the fish don't know that, so they just swim around happily. It's a bit of a miserable thought. But aren't soldiers much the same?
No.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Is it true that we'll be assaulting Fort Mercius next? That doesn't sound like the brightest idea. I've heard that it's built to withstand an attack from even the largest of armies. And not to tell you how to do your job, but don't do it. I'm not ready to say my final goodbyes to everyone.
No sale. A class reunion on the battlefield? That's bleak. That must have been so hard on everyone. You gotta keep looking after them all. I mean, they still look to you for guidance, you know?
No.
Hey!
Hey there! We merchants of the Alliance territories were excited to hear of your victory in the last battle. We don't much like the prospect of doing business under the heel of the Empire. The Alliance is what we know and love. But more than that, it's low on regulations, which is great for business. Please keep up the good work, Professor. The merchants of the world are on your side.
Claude takes care of the strategy, you direct the troops, and the rest of us focus on the fighting. As long as the system keeps working, we can win any battle, no matter the odds. That's what everyone's saying, anyway. Hope you can keep up with our expectations, Professor.
After the battle at Gronder, some people claim they saw my father. They said he walked off the battlefield clutching His Highness's dead body. So long as Father's alive, I don't need anything else. I hope to see him again one day. Professor. Standing face to face with those whom I went to school with. On the field of battle. How inhuman war is.
How horrifying. My heart feels shattered. It is my hope that this war marks the end of such foolish behavior.
You know when you work your muscles and they start screaming? That means you gotta be nice to them. If your muscles are hungry, you gotta feed them. And let them rest when they're tired. Of course! If my muscles hurt, then I hurt. If they're hungry, well then I'm hungry too. What's with the confused face, Professor? You look like you don't get a word I'm saying.
Hey, you.
Teacher, Dimitri, the late Prince of Fargus. He despised the Empire with all his heart. He should not have tried leading an army while his emotions were holding him captive. No. If a leader's emotions overcome them, others must step in to prevent poor decision-making. Why did his followers not intervene? His attendants? I used to call Edelgard my leader, and now she is running amok. I am duty-bound to stop her.
Hey, you.
What?
I never used to care whether I lived or died. But after seeing so much death firsthand, I now realize how precious life truly is. I'm ashamed of how arrogant I was to think that death could mean so little.
Professor, among our prisoners of war, there were quite a few people who served His Highness. One of them stated that the Empire was involved with the tragedy of Dusker. If this is true, His Highness's motives seem clear. I can't help but feel that perhaps I should have been fighting by his side. No, not anymore. I am where I belong. Those of us still on this plane of existence will carry the torch. The inhumane actions of the Empire must not be repeated.
Hey, you.
Edelgard, Dimitri, and our own Claude. All the house leaders from way back when, assembled again at Gronder. I wonder what their thoughts were as they headed out to the battlefield.
Hello there.
Hey. Ah, Professor, I have a question for you. Have you heard of the Death Knight? I'm referring to that Imperial general who has been operating under that moniker. Nothing is certain yet, but I get the feeling we'll have to face him soon enough.
Pardon me.
Definitely.
After that great battle earlier, balance of power in Fodlan has shifted greatly. To get revenge for all our fallen friends, we'll have to stake our lives on the fight that lies before us.
Really?
I come here after getting chased out of the Empire. There's no place for our kind there anymore. But there are still many inside Empire territory who haven't abandoned their faith in the Church of Seros. I pray that one day we'll get the chance to rebuild the church within the Empire.
Fort Mercius is old and strong. Its reputation for durability is equal to that of Aryan Road. Are we really going to leave this to Claude, with a plan concocted by Hilda of all people? I would like to, but I am always troubled by how secretively that man devises his schemes. Let us hope the end result is not too outlandish.
That's gotta hurt! That's gotta hurt! Wonder there's a bounty on my head. Doing? Smells like a brawl. That's gotta hurt!
There's word that Claude has developed a rather interesting stratagem to capture the fortress. You know Fort Mercius' nickname, I assume, the stubborn old general? But there must be one or two gaps in its defenses.
As I suspected, they seem to be supporting the Imperial Army now. Though I don't quite know who they are yet. Nor do I know what tricks they'll use against us next. We can't afford to let our guard down.
Professor, the battle at Gronder Field was gruesome, wasn't it? But perhaps it's irresponsible to look away. To close our eyes to the horrors of war. Thank you. But I think I do, actually. As survivors, we must ensure that all these lives were not lost in vain. We must see the tragic foundations upon which we'll build our future. May an age of peace rise from the ashes, so that all this sacrifice means something.
I wonder how far we can get with this plan, dressing up like Imperial soldiers to sneak in.
Claude said it could use some refinement. Any ideas?
Claude dressed as a woman? I don't understand what the point of that would be. On second thought, let's just stick to the plan as originally conceived. That seems safer.
Teach. Each time we take a step forward, more blood is spilled. But by spilling that blood, we're able to take yet another step forward. War is always a cruel affair, But luckily, we have each other to lean on. We've steeled our hearts. We won't be broken. I couldn't agree more. Without them, we could never have made it this far. Oh, and about taking the fort, I'll need a tad more time to prepare our plan. It's called an impregnable fortress for a reason, after all. My contingencies need contingencies this time, or we may not pull it off.
Let's see. Guess what I noticed? I can see further than most other people can see. But I can't figure the point of seeing further than an arrow can fly, since I can't shoot what I see. Yeah, I suppose it could be real useful for finding Lady Rhea, too. Thanks, Professor. I think I get it now. I'm gonna put my eyes to real good use.
Some say they saw Gilbert, who used to serve in the Knights of Seros, at Gronder. Apparently, he was originally a Knight of the Kingdom who served Prince Dimitri. He was an exceptional knight. I wish I could have fought by his side.
Fort Mercius is a keep that was constructed to defend the imperial capital, Enbar. We cannot enter the capital without first capturing that fort. But once we have it, the city should be almost entirely at our mercy. Whatever strategy you have in mind, I have faith that it will lead to victory.
Professor!
Hey you, listen up. I've got something to report. I hear there was a huge battle recently. Glad to see you made it back safe and sound. Maybe there's life after death, or maybe that's just a bunch of pretty words. Either way, we should live like our time here is all we've got.
Professor!
I hear Hilda proposed a genius plan, that right? We've got a little strategist on our hands. Not too long ago, she was just a tiny girl who couldn't do a thing on her own. Now look at her. She's the fiercest of the fierce. I wonder what Holst would say if he saw her now. I bet he'd be proud. Just like me.
It's not that I don't sympathize with Lady Edelgard's goals, mind you, but perhaps not to the point of shedding blood for her ideals. Of course, but I've gone down a different road. Peace in Fodlan and a restored House Nouvelle shall be my guiding star as I blaze my own trail.
Maybe.
People have always fought, I guess. Bandits and nobles clashing over territory, things like that. So before the war, when folks talked about how peaceful everything was, I thought, what continent are you living on? I get it now. A few isolated skirmishes here and there are nothing compared to a full-blown war. The one truly peaceful place I've known was the village where I grew up.
If the Empire rallies its forces and attacks Garreg Mach, I'm not so sure Abyss will be okay. If we're not careful, it'll end up buried in rubble. Ever the valiant one.
But nobody ever knows how a war will turn out. That's part of the deal, you know. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I want to ensure there's still a refuge for people to escape to.
No, please. You can't tell anyone you saw me here. I'm in hiding from the army. I couldn't stand the war, the violence. I had to get away. But now that I've deserted, I can't go home. Justice, ambition, what does any of that matter if you're dead? I just want to live. Is that so wrong?
I hear there was a pretty spectacular battle up there recently, but we don't hear a lot about that stuff. There was a lot of talk when it first started, but 5 years on, it's just a fact of life. What? There have been lots of battles on the surface recently? I hadn't heard. See what I mean?
Pardon me. Got a wager for you. My friend says there's twice as many women in Abyss as men. You think he's right? No way. You got eyes? Take a look around. No way. No way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love this stuff. Did you know that?
This is my favorite. I am rather happy you went out of your way to pick it, Professor.
I like this dish. It was my father's favorite.
Smaller bites will make you look more refined, while at the same time helping you feel full and content.
I appreciate any good meal, but nothing beats enjoying my favorite food.
As a noble, I tried.
My favorite meal at my favorite cost. Free. Gotta love this place.
Wow, this is all kinds of tasty. quad take as long as that's what everyone's. Wow, this is. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay.
Heya!
Professor!
Hey there!
Come back anytime.
No, Sam, you gotta keep... Welcome! Is that the one? Thanks a... Is that the one? Is that the one? Thanks a bunch. Come back soon.